All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, they say that once the sun comes up, you cannot stop a rooster from crowing. And the reason for that is that oftentimes it takes a person a very long time to accept the truth, but once they do, they're the most passionate about it. An example of that is Mr. Stephen A. Smith. I've been saying for years that this narrative that has been pushed and propagated by the liberal sports media that every superstar in the league wants to play with LeBron was a fallacy. He was one of the main people, one of the main personages around the liberal sports media that covers the NBA who was pushing that. He and Skip Bayless used to get into very passionate debates, discussions, arguments about that notion. And he's finally come to terms with the fact that he's been lying to the public for a very long time now in regards to LeBron James. That no, the superstars in the league do not want to play with him. And he has decided to go out on a limb and state that he himself would not want to play with LeBron. If he were an NBA player, that he would rather play with Kevin Durant. So, of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Back-to-back Finals MVP Kevin Durant gets DeMarcus Cousins to take the mid-level exception to join his team, while LeBron James has Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, and Rajon Rondo joining him in LA. Stephen A., I'll start with you. Who would you rather play with, Durant or LeBron?
Let me say this before Stephen A. Smith answers. Of course, this is a completely hypothetical question. There's a lot that goes into that answer. But if you want to get to the NBA Finals and you had to pick a player to lead you to the NBA Finals to play with, then you would pick LeBron James. But if you were to play with a player that was going to allow you to show everything that you could do to be the optimal player that you could be, then you would pick Kevin Durant. Because LeBron is way too much of a ball dominator. He's been hiding his actual player archetype behind a bunch of gaudy stats and numbers, when in all reality, he is a relatively quote-unquote selfish player. He likes to have the ball in his hands. Is he a very good passer? Absolutely. But it's always going to be very difficult to be as good a player as you can be playing alongside a LeBron James, because he wants to dictate every aspect of the basketball game. Kevin Durant will oftentimes show that he is able and willing to play without the ball. So you're able to plug him into a far greater diversity of offensive systems. LeBron James, you're not able to plug him into any offensive system other than the LeBron James system. So if you consider yourself an ancillary piece, meaning a background dancer, which is basically all that fits in with a LeBron James, then yeah, you hop on his back to the finals. If you're a player who considers yourself extremely talented and you want to show what you can do, then you team up with Kevin Durant, because he actually can play without the basketball. You can give him 25 touches and he's going to have the ball up in the air within 2 seconds of catching the basketball. He's not going to stop the ball. Now, he does have certain bad habits. He likes to go one-on-one a little bit too much. He'll face up and he'll hold the ball a little bit too long, but all you have to do is call timeout and say, Kevin, get back to the game plan, and he'll do it. LeBron James only knows one game plan, and that is LeBron's game plan.
Durant. And the reason why I'd rather play with Durant, because I pride myself on being an extremely talented individual.
Well, that means that you're an extremely delusional individual, because I saw you when you went down to the Houston Rockets training facility and you shot baskets with Mr. James Harden. And brother, to be quite frank with you, you put up enough bricks to build a pyramid.
Or who would want to do more than just stand around and wait for the star to decide what's best for me. When I look at LeBron James, he's phenomenal. He's the best player in the world. He's a basketball savant. All of those things are true. But because of his greatness, it leaves others standing around playing the role of spectator, wondering what decision he will make.
I've been saying that for years now, Stephen A. Smith. Welcome aboard, sir. LeBron is a phenomenal talent, but he does not amplify the talents of his teammates. He siphons the energy from them to amplify himself.
Whereas with Durant, he's simply a scoring machine, the likes of which we may have never seen when all is said and done.
He can do a lot of different things, Mr. Kevin Durant. He really is a Swiss Army knife. His one flaw is his mindset. You can get him to doubt himself. Other than that, he really does not have a weakness on the basketball court. He can defend one-on-one. He can help defend. He blocks shots. He can get steals. He dribbles well. He passes well. He shoots well. He finishes well. He shoots free throws very well. The only thing stopping him from officially usurping the title of the NBA's best player from LeBron James is himself. That's basically it. and the system that he plays in, it's going to be very difficult for people to give him that level of credit when he's also playing with a Steph Curry, a player who there are still a certain faction of people that consider Steph Curry the best player in the NBA. I wouldn't quite call Steph the best. He's the most impactful on the offensive end. There's no doubt about that. And an underrated defender. But for the most part, when we talk about the best player in the NBA, we're talking about LeBron and KD.
I can feed off of him better because of his efficiency and the fact that he doesn't need to do as much for others around him to benefit. And because I believe in myself as a talent, I believe I would excel better with him than I would with LeBron.
Negro, please. I think that you would ride the bench better with LeBron James. That's what I think.
The answer is LeBron James. In fact, love me some AI, but that should be LeBron James's nickname. In today's NBA, if the question is basketball, the answer is LeBron James.
I agree. Who takes the most state-of-the-art performance-enhancing drugs in the history of the NBA? LeBron James.
James.
Allegedly.
And Stephen A., what's shocking about this answer from you is, do you see yourself as a ball handler? You are a scorer. You are a shooter. You want to play next to LeBron, get the ball, and shoot. If you're the ball handler, it's going to stick.
Please. Well, Stephen A. Smith is the loudest talking water boy in the history of the NBA. That's what his ass is.
The ball's not going to move. You got to play off LeBron, not play with KD.
Well, first of all, you're wrong. You presented a misnomer and you gave inaccurate information to the rest of America.
What is
I
it?
don't consider myself a shooter. I don't consider myself just a scorer. I consider myself
A splinter collector. That's what your ass is. You're a splinter collector. You stand up at the end of every game and they count the amount of splinters in your ass. And based off of the amount of splinters that's left in your ass after riding the bench for the whole game, upper management decides if they have to call in a carpenter to sand the top of the bench for the next game. That's about all you'd be good for. That and getting water and Gatorade for the team.
player. And so if I'm on the basketball court, I'm going to do what it takes. And it damn sure ain't going to be standing around waiting for somebody else. I'm the dude that wants the ball once you...
Don't worry about it, brother. You're not going to be standing around. You're going to be sitting around. I mean, give me a break. Once again, anybody who wants to see how talented Stephen A. Smith actually was as a basketball player, just watch that footage of him and James Harden. And I know that the brother probably has not shot baskets in a long time, but it was atrocious. I mean, he embarrassed himself so bad that he had to come on TV the next day and apologize to the viewing audience.
Once you get past half court, I don't want to stand around and watch you and wait for you to hand me the ball.
Shocker. Stephen A., you want the ball. Max, that's where I thought you would have went. I thought you would have called him a ball hog.
No.
I thought
Stephen A. doesn't
That's what I'm saying. I'm a ball hog. If anything, I'm a ball hog. That's...
Oh, please. You ain't no damn ball hog. You're a bench hog. You're going to be hogging the bench. I could see Stephen A. Smith on the end of the bench. I can't believe they have the audacity, the temerity, the unmitigated gall to leave me on the end of this wooden bench right here that's hurting my gluteus maximus to the optimal degree. I cannot believe this. Coach, you got to get me in the game. They say, nigga, just go get some water for the team and be quiet, please. But anyway, that's pretty much it on that. It's just good to see that even many in the mainstream media are finally starting to divest themselves to give up on that silly propaganda in regards to LeBron James, who's an all-time great. But no, other great players do not want to play with him because they know what his true style of basketball is, which is to glamorize himself. So peace.